Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to the first episode of Small Booktuber Sunday. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the recent sort of demonetization stuff and also give you some Booktuber shout-outs for some Booktubers that I really think you would enjoy. If you don't know, a couple of weeks ago YouTube demonetized several channels, which are effectively many smaller YouTube channels who previously had access to monetization and were able to put adverts on their video and earn a little bit of money from that are no longer able to. The new threshold is now 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 view hours in the last year, which is actually quite a lot of view hours. So a lot of people who have way over 1,000 subscribers have also been demonetized because they don't have the watch hours. 4,000 hours is really quite a lot. I have not been demonetized, but some people who have the same sort of amount of subscribers as me and same sort of views per video as me have been, and that's partly because I'm very lucky that I'm able to have the time to post 2 videos a week, and also I'm quite rambly and my videos are really long. If I were only able to post like 1 video a week and that video was like an 8-minute video rather than posting like 2 15-minute videos a week, which is often what I do, I don't think I would have those watch hours in order to meet that threshold. I do think that it is quite a high threshold. I'm not going to talk too much here about the merits and demerits of demonetization and sort of YouTube's reasons behind it. There have been a lot of really good discussion videos on it by people who I think understand it slightly more than me to a certain extent. I will link down below 4 videos in particular that I would really encourage you to watch. One is by Harriet Rosie, one is by Sylvia Kay, one is by Simon from Savage Reads, and the other by Sophie from Portal in the Pages. I think these 4 videos are really good, will give you a good overview of the sort of situation and also present slightly different sides, and Simon talks quite a lot about the sort of reason behind why YouTube has done it as well, which I think is worth paying attention to. At the same time, I find it slightly disheartening that they have done that, and I think it is a shame for smaller YouTubers, and it does hit hard communities like our own, like Booktube, that does tend to be quite small. I think the 4,000 hours is quite hard to reach, especially if you're not someone who's able to post really regularly and really often, or if you're someone that posts shorter videos. I think it seems a shame to like penalise shorter videos over longer ones. At the same time, I do understand some of the things that pushed YouTube to do it to a certain extent, and I think, though I'm still not completely certain, that people who are losing the ability to put adverts on their video will still be able to schedule their videos to upload and do sort of customised thumbnails. And as a lot of people said, it's not really about the money. People on Booktube don't tend to earn much money, and if you have under 1,000 subscribers and under 4,000 watch hours, you're probably not earning very much. But one, I do think actually it is helpful to have a small income from YouTube, and I'm talking very small, but you know, even if you earn like £20 or like $30 a year from YouTube, if that enables you to do a giveaway once a year, then that helps your channel grow and helps you do fun things with your channel and does make a difference, and you wouldn't necessarily be able to justify that afterwards. I don't think I would ever do giveaways if I didn't have some kind of ad revenue, because I wouldn't be able to justify the expense to myself, especially in terms of like international shipping and so on, because a lot of my followers are in the US or in other countries and so on. But it's more about the principle than the money, and I think for a lot of smaller creators it does feel like YouTube is saying that they're not welcome, that they're not wanted. I don't think YouTube is going to change this, but in my opinion the thing to be done if YouTube is making smaller creators feel unwanted is that Booktube as a community has to make them feel wanted, which is what Booktube has done. And one of the things that has been really lovely in the last few weeks is to see so many people on Twitter and on YouTube talking about their favourite smaller Booktubers and having discussions about how wonderful Booktube is and how much they love so many other channels on Booktube, and that's been really lovely. I've discovered lots of new channels. I've been really enjoying watching people shout out videos and stuff like that, and it is just, yeah, it reminds me why I love Booktube as a community, because mostly we're really nice and we care about each other, and that's good. And I'm really glad that I'm part of this community because it is so nice. One of the things I've really enjoyed in the last few weeks is Harriet Rosie hosted something just after demonetization called Small Booktuber Sunday, where she encouraged people to post shout out videos of their favourite smaller booktubers, and also she like hosted a discussion on Twitter for sort of smaller booktubers and discussion about Booktube, which I thought was really lovely. Unfortunately, I was too busy that week and had too much on to film a video that week, but I thought because I didn't get to take part in that, I would do another shout out video. And then I wrote down a list of all the small booktubers who I wanted to shout out who had like under 2,000 subscribers or thereabouts, and then I realised that I had a list of 50 people, which is too many to do in one video. So I thought, why don't I do a series, and why don't I make every first Sunday of every month Small Booktuber Sunday, and I'll do a shout out video talking about some of my favourite smaller booktubers. So that is what I'm doing. Every first Sunday of every month from now on it will be Small Booktuber Sunday on my channel, and I'll talk about some of my favourite smaller booktubers. In terms of what I mean when I say like a small booktuber, previously the number I usually used was sort of like under 1,000 subscribers, and I've done quite a lot of shout outs for like people with under 1,000 subscribers, but also I'm aware that actually reaching 1,000 subscribers, I think most people who are on 1,000 subscribers will not be on 4,000 hours, and actually you probably have to get a fair bit beyond that before you're getting those kind of watch hours. Especially because when you get to 1,000 subscribers, you probably weren't on that a year ago, so like in the last year, etc. Anyway, so I thought what I would do instead is have my sort of upper limit at vaguely 2,000, but there are also some people I wrote down on my list and which I will be shouting out in the next few months who have over 2,000 subscribers, but either they're just over 2,000 subscribers or they are not able to post as regularly, or I have seen them posting on Twitter, etc., saying that they have been demonetized. I'm really, really excited about this series. I think it will be really good. I have a lot of booktubers to talk about. Recently, I started doing like a recent booktube favourites video like every 3 months, which I sort of like took out of a non-reading wrap-up thing. I'm gonna put that back in my non-reading wrap-up and just talk about some of my favourite videos there, because I think that this will fairly cover like a lot of my booktube enjoyment, especially because the vast majority of the booktubers I watch have under 2,000 subscribers. I would say that 80% of the booktubers I watch, possibly more, have under 2,000 subscribers. A lot of my closest friends on booktube have under 2,000 subscribers, and a lot of my absolute favourite booktubers have under 2,000 subscribers. So this has been a very long introduction. I do have some booktubers to shout out today. I think in a usual typical small booktuber Sunday on my channel from now onwards I will be shouting out 10 booktubers a month, but as today I've had a very long introduction, I think I'm just going to do 6. Like I said, I have a list of 50 people I want to shout out, so this is a very, very, very small selection, but the 6 booktubers I wanted to start with are 6 of my absolute favourites. Have many more absolute favourites as well. There will be many, many, many videos of this to come. Let's start off with Weena Wonders. I know I talk about Weena a lot, but she is one of my absolute favourite booktubers and one of the most impressive and amazing and interesting people on booktube, doing some of the most interesting and some of the most amazing things. She is from the Philippines. She reads very, very widely, a lot of literary fiction, a lot of poetry, which is nice because I feel like that's not talked about that much on booktube. She also has a great series, Phil Lit, where she talks about literature from the Philippines. She's also a writer and she does writing vlogs and sort of talking about the chapbooks and prose poetry pamphlets that she produces. She also does the most amazing spoken word poetry videos, which are set to music and film footage and just make the most like incredible works of art like ever, and I love them a lot. Both of us have been on booktube for coming up to 3 years, and I've been watching her since like nearly the very beginning of me being on booktube. I love her channel a lot and I would really, really highly recommend her. Next I have Leanne Rose. I love Leanne's channel so much. She's another person I have been watching since a very, very, very near the beginning of my time on booktube. We both started about the same time, again sort of 2.5 to 3 years ago, and it's been really nice to watch her channel develop over the last few years. She is from Ireland, but she currently lives in Aberystwyth. She was studying there and now works there, and I know she's looking at getting into publishing. Like Weena, she's also a writer and a poet, and I've really enjoyed her poetry spoken word videos before. I also really love the way she talks about feminism. I also really love the way she talks about Harry Potter. She does a great series where she analyses parental figures in Harry Potter. In fact, one of the things I really love about Leanne's channel is how well she balances sort of the analytical, critical stuff with the more sort of fun, chatty stuff as well, which is really, really nice. Leanne's channel is really, really wonderful. I can't recommend it enough. You should definitely go and watch her. Next I want to mention Petra Yu, another one of my absolute favourite booktubers. She's a booktuber from Finland. She is doing her Masters in History at the moment, I think, and I really, really think she has brilliant taste in literature, partly because she loves Victorian literature a lot, which I of course definitely approve of, but also in terms of modern literary fiction. I think she has quite similar taste to me. She also enjoys modern classics. She loves Virginia Woolf. I also really like the way she talks about mental health and is quite honest about problems going on in her life and the way that they affect her reading. She's also recently started a new series called Reading Week, where she looks back in kind of as a more chatty format about what she's been reading in the last week, and that's something I've been really, really enjoying. I really can't recommend her channel enough. You should definitely go and check her out. Next I want to mention Marissa from Blatantly Bookish. Marissa is one of my closest booktube friends and someone I talk to a lot, and we have had many, many fascinating discussions. If you like my channel, you will like Marissa because she is kind of very like me but American, and her personality I would say is very, very similar to me, and we also have very, very similar taste in books. I think we have disagreed on like one book ever. She enjoys classics, she loves Jane Austen, she loves Victorian literature, she likes the Bronte, she's working her way through Trollope at the moment. She adored Elizabeth Gaskell last year, which made me massively happy because we had a lot of very, very long discussions about how amazing Elizabeth Gaskell is. She also has really interesting taste in modern books, a mix of sort of general fiction and literary fiction. Like me, she has tastes which are sort of on the more sort of commercial end of literary fiction, or maybe like the less experimental end of literary fiction, shall we say. So I think, like I said, if you like my channel and you like my book taste, you will definitely like Marissa because she has very, very very similar book taste to me. I also just think she has so many great features on her channel. I love her library hauls, they're always really, really enjoyable to watch. And she's done some great, really analytical individual reviews. I'll link down below her video on Dr. Thorne and also her video on Jane Austen, The Secret Radical, which I'm reading at the moment, and she dissects in a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way. Next, I want to mention Libby Stevenson, another booktuber who I really, really enjoy watching and who I think is very underrated. One of the things I really like about Libby is that she reads a lot of plays, which I don't think is talked about very, very much on Booktube, so it's really, really nice. I really, really enjoy watching booktubers who talk about plays, and I have another couple booktubers who really love talking about plays that I'll talk about in future shout-out videos as well. Libby loves classical literature a lot as well, so if you enjoy watching someone like Jean Bookish Thoughts, I think you will enjoy Libby's channel as well for that similar sort of time period. Libby did ancient Greek and French at university, so she loves bit of Greek tragedy. She also loves Shakespeare a lot and has been reading her way through a lot of Shakespeare in the last year, so I've really enjoyed listening to her talk about Shakespeare and listening to her talk about Chekhov and so many other great playwrights. But as well as great playwrights, she also reads a lot of really interesting novelists, and she also likes Victorian literature, well, Thomas Hardy especially, which is something I really, really enjoy. Also, what she does for a job is voice and also like edit and put together full cast audiobooks and like splice them together, which I think is really, really cool and really, really interesting. Very funny, very, very enjoyable to watch, and just a channel I would really, really, really highly recommend. And again, like everyone, I will link her down below. Finally, for this video, I want to mention Sylvia Kay. She is a brilliant, brilliant booktuber who I discovered about 6 months ago, and one of those people I'm so glad she's part of the booktube community. She posts very, very interesting discussion videos, though there is a lot more to her channel than that. I mentioned her Demonetarisation video earlier, which again I will link down below, and she's made some other brilliant discussion videos about sort of being part of booktube, including a video about unsubscribing, about the differences between sort of editing and not editing your videos, and so many other really, really interesting discussion videos. She also has great and really varied taste in books, and what I will do is I'll link down below her favourite books of 2017, because she divides it into categories, and I think the categories she has shows how diverse her taste in books is. I think the categories include sort of classics, chick lit, modern YA contemporary, fantasy, steampunk, and a couple more, and I really, really enjoy hearing her talk about so many different genres and the fact that her videos are quite varied. She also writes like a couple of other booktubers I mentioned today, and last November she took part in NaNoWriMo. I really, really enjoyed watching her NaNoWriMo videos, seeing how she got on with it and hearing her talk about sort of how she balances reading and writing, or the struggles to balance reading and writing, and sort of where she sees writing in her life and the role it plays. Last October she hosted a Cozy-a-thon, and she's also currently hosting another one, which is basically a readathon that is partly about the books you read but also partly about the way you read and having like a good reading experience, which I think is a really, really lovely thing to do with a readathon. I really, really enjoy Sylvia's videos. She's so enjoyable and so engaging to watch. I really, really love her channel, and you should definitely, please go and watch her. So that is all for this time. As I said, I have a list of 50 booktubers I want to shout out in the next few months, and I'm sure the list will be longer as we go. So this is by no means everybody I love who has slightly smaller channels. So More Booktuber Sunday will be back in another month, and I will have a lot more booktubers to shout out then, and it will probably also be a slightly shorter video than today because I won't go on a slight ramble about demonetarisation at the beginning. So that's all for this time. Thanks very much for watching. Please let me know down in the comments who your favourite small booktubers are, and I will go and check them out. And also, if you are a booktuber with a smaller channel, let me know as well, because I am always eager to discover more people. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.